It was a cold evening in the city. Cars rushed past, people walked quickly, lost in their own thoughts, their own problems. On the edge of the sidewalk sat a small boy. His clothes were thin, his shoes worn out, his hands resting quietly in his lap. He wasn't asking for money. He wasn't crying. He was just sitting there, watching people pass by, as if waiting for something he couldn't name. People noticed him, but no one stopped. Some looked away. Some judged him without knowing his story. A few whispered to themselves that everyone has problems and kept walking. No one saw the hunger in his eyes. No one felt the silence around him. A man walked past him too. He looked tired, carrying the weight of a long day. He took a few steps forward, then slowed down. Something didn't feel right. He turned back, walked toward the boy, and sat down beside him. He didn't ask many questions. He didn't look around to see who was watching. He simply asked, in a calm voice, "Are you hungry?" The boy didn't answer. His lips trembled, and his eyes filled with tears. That was enough. The man opened his bag, took out some food, and gently placed it in front of him. For a moment, the boy hesitated. Then he picked it up and began to eat, slowly, quietly, as if afraid the moment might disappear. With every bite, a little strength returned to his face. The man stayed silent. He didn't record anything. He didn't try to look kind. He just stayed. After a while, the man softly asked why the boy was alone. The boy spoke in a low voice. His mother was sick. His father had passed away. There was nothing to eat at home that day. He didn't complain. He just stated the truth, like someone who had accepted life being unfair. The man reached into his pocket and took out the little money he had. It wasn't much, but he placed it in the boy's hand and said, "This isn't just money. It's a reminder that you're not alone." The boy looked up, surprised. Around them, people had started to slow down. Someone felt uncomfortable. Someone else felt inspired. A few small acts followed: a drink, a kind word, a quiet prayer. Kindness began to move, without noise. The boy smiled. Not a wide smile, but a real one. The kind that comes when hope returns. He looked at the man and whispered, "Thank you." That single word made the man feel lighter than he had all day. Maybe you pass someone like this every day. Maybe you think you don't have enough to give. But kindness isn't about how much you have. It's about whether you stop. Today, you might be just another stranger. It was a cold evening in the city, cars moving fast, people walking past with tired faces and busy minds, everyone carrying their own worries. On the side of the sidewalk, a small boy sat quietly, his thin clothes no match for the weather, his shoes worn out, his hands resting on his knees. He wasn't begging, he wasn't calling out to anyone, he was simply sitting there, watching the world move without him, waiting for something he didn't know how to ask for. People noticed him but kept going. Some avoided eye contact, some judged him silently, some thought it was not their problem. To them, he was just another face in the crowd, but inside him was hunger, fear, and a sadness too heavy for his age. No one stopped to ask why a child would sit alone like that. A man walked past him as well, tired from the day, focused on getting home. After a few steps, he slowed down, then stopped. Something inside him felt uneasy. He turned back, walked toward the boy, and sat beside him without saying much. He looked at the boy gently and asked if he was hungry. The boy tried to answer, but his voice failed him. His eyes filled with tears, and his silence said everything. The man opened his bag and took out some food, placing it in front of the boy without making a show of it. The boy hesitated for a moment, then began to eat slowly, carefully, as if afraid it might be taken away. With every bite, his face changed, the fear easing, the strength returning. The man stayed right there, quiet and patient, not reaching for his phone, not looking around for approval, just being present. After some time, the man asked why the boy was alone. The boy spoke softly, explaining that his mother was sick and his father had passed away, that there had been no food at home that day. He didn't cry or complain, he simply told the truth, like someone who had learned to accept pain too early. The man felt a tightness in his chest, the kind that words can't fix. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the little money he had, not much, but enough to help for that night. He placed it in the boy's hand and told him that this was not just money, but a sign that he was not alone in the world. The boy looked up, surprised, his eyes wide with disbelief. Around them, people had started to slow down, watching quietly. Some felt ashamed, some felt inspired, and slowly, without anyone planning it, kindness began to spread. Someone offered a drink, someone said a prayer, someone simply stood there with respect. The boy smiled, a small, honest smile filled with relief and hope. He whispered thank you, his voice barely audible, but heavy with meaning. That simple word stayed with the man, lifting the weight of his tired day, reminding him why small choices matter. You may walk past someone like that every day. You may think you don't have enough time, money, or strength to help. But kindness is not about how much you give, it's about stopping, about seeing someone who feels invisible. Today, you might be just another stranger, but tomorrow, you could be the reason someone survives, the reason someone believes again. Sometimes, one small act of kindness is enough to change everything. You could be the reason the man didn't leave immediately. He sat there a little longer, as if standing up too fast might break the fragile calm that had settled between them. The boy finished his food and wiped his hands on his sleeves, looking down, unsure of what to do next. The city noise continued around them, but for a moment, it felt distant, like the world had slowed down just enough to notice them. The man asked the boy where he lived. The boy pointed toward a narrow street, barely lit, the kind of place people passed without really seeing. The man listened carefully, nodding, not interrupting. He didn't promise big things. He didn't say life would suddenly become easy. He only said, go home safely. Tomorrow matters. Before leaving, the man took off his jacket and placed it gently around the boy's shoulders. It was slightly too big, but warm. The boy looked up, confused, almost afraid to accept it. The man smiled and said nothing. Some kindness doesn't need explanation. As the boy stood up, wrapped in that jacket, he looked different. Still poor, still uncertain, but no longer invisible. People around them noticed, not because of noise or drama, but because something quiet had shifted. A few faces softened. A few hearts felt heavier than before. The man walked away slowly. He didn't turn back for applause. He didn't expect gratitude. He just kept walking, carrying something lighter inside him. That night, he slept better than he had in a long time. Not because his life had changed, but because he had changed someone else's moment. The boy went home holding the jacket tightly. His mother looked at him with tired eyes and asked where he got the food, the warmth, the strength in his voice. He didn't explain much. He just said, someone helped me. And for the first time in days, they both felt less afraid of tomorrow. Days passed. The city stayed busy. Problems didn't disappear. But somewhere in that same crowd, a boy walked with a little more confidence, and a man walked with a little more awareness. Neither of them became famous. Neither of them became rich. But something real had happened, something that doesn't show up on screens or headlines. Kindness doesn't always change the world. Sometimes, it just changes one day, one heart, one direction. And often, that is enough. Keeps going. Sometimes, one small act of kindness is all it takes to